Lifting their heads to look, the various Buddhas saw that the Bodhisattva had a mind perfected in the four virtues, a golden body filled with wisdom, fringes of dangling pearls and jade, scented bracelets set with lustrous treasures, dark hair piled smartly in a coiled dragon bun, and brocade sashes fluttering as phoenix quills. Her green jade buttons and white silk robe bathed in holy light, her velvet skirt and golden cords wrapped by hallowed air, with brows of new moon shape and eyes like two bright stars. Her jade-like face beams natural joy, and her ruddy lips seem a flash of red. Her immaculate vase overflows with nectar from year to year, holding sprigs of weeping willow green from age to age. She disperses the 8 woes. She redeems the multitude. She has great compassion. Thus she rules the Tai Mountain and lives at the South Sea. She saves the poor, searching for their voices. Ever heedful and solicitous, ever wise and efficacious. Her orchid heart delights in green bamboos. Her chaste nature loves the wisteria. She is the merciful lord of the Potalaka mountain, the living Guanyin from the cave of tidal sound. When Tathagata saw her, he was most delighted and said to her, "No other person is qualified to make this journey. It must be the Honorable Guanyin of mighty magic powers, she's the one to do it. As your disciple departs for the east," said the Bodhisattva, "do you have any instructions? As you travel," said Tathagata, "you are to examine the way carefully. Do not journey high in the air, but remain at an altitude halfway between mist and cloud so that you can see the mountains and waters and remember the exact distance. You will then be able to instruct closely the scripture pilgrim. Since he may still find the journey difficult, I shall also give you 5 talismans." Ordering Ananta and Kasyapa to bring out an embroidered cassock and a 9-ring priestly staff, he said to the Bodhisattva, "You may give this cassock and this staff to the scripture pilgrim. If he is firm in his intention to come here, he may put on the cassock and it will protect him from falling back into the wheel of transmigration. When he holds the staff, it will keep him from meeting poison or harm." The Bodhisattva bowed low to receive the gifts. Tathagata then took out also 3 fillets and handed them to the Bodhisattva, saying, "These treasures are called the tightening fillets, and though they are all alike, their uses are not the same. I have a separate spell for each of them, the golden, the constrictive, and the prohibitive spell. If you encounter on the way any monster who possesses great magic powers, you must persuade him to learn to be good and to follow the scripture pilgrim as his disciple. If he is disobedient, this fillet may be put on his head, and it will strike root the moment it comes into contact with the flesh. Recite the particular spell which belongs to the fillet, and it will cause the head to swell and ache so painfully that he will think his brains are bursting. That will persuade him to come within our fold." After the Bodhisattva had bowed to the Buddha and taken her leave, she called disciple Huyan to follow her. This Huyan, you see, carried a huge iron rod that weighed 1,000 pounds. He followed the Bodhisattva closely and served her as a powerful bodyguard. The Bodhisattva made the embroidered cassock into a bundle and placed it on his back. She hid the golden fillets, took up the priestly staff, and went down the spirit mountain. Lo, this one journey will result in a Buddha son returning to keep his primal vow. The gold cicada elder will clasp the Tandana. The Bodhisattva went to the bottom of the hill, where she was received at the door of the Jade Perfection Taoist Abbey by the great immortal of Golden Head. The Bodhisattva was presented with tea, but she did not dare linger long, saying, "I have received the Dharma decree of Tathagata, to look for a scripture pilgrim in the land of the East." The great immortal said, "When do you expect the scripture pilgrim to arrive?" "I'm not sure," said the Bodhisattva. "Perhaps in 2 or 3 years' time he'll be able to get here." So she took leave of the great immortal, and traveled at an altitude halfway between cloud and mist in order that she might remember the way and the distance. We have a testimonial poem for her that says, "A search through 10,000 miles, no need to say. To state who will be found is no easy thing. Has not seeking someone been just like this? What's been my whole life? Was that a mere chance? We preach the Tao, our method turns foolish. When saying meets no belief, we preach in vain. To find some percipient I'd yield liver and gall. There's affinity, I think, lying straight ahead." As the mentor and her disciple journeyed, they suddenly came upon a large body of weak water, for this was the region of the flowing sand river. "My disciple," said the Bodhisattva, "this place is difficult to cross. The scripture pilgrim will be of temporal bones and mortal stock. How will he be able to get across?" "Teacher," said Huyan, "how wide do you suppose this river is?" The Bodhisattva stopped her cloud to take a look, and she saw that in the east it touches the sandy coast. In the west it joins the barbaric states. In the south it reaches even Wuyi. In the north it comes near the Tartars. Its width is 800 miles. And its length must measure many thousand more. The water flows as if earth is heaving its frame. The current rises like a mountain rearing its back. Outspread and immense. Vast and interminable. The sound of its towering billows reaches distant ears. The raft of a god cannot come here. Nor can a leaf of the lotus stay afloat. Lifeless grass in the twilight drifts along the crooked banks. Yellow clouds conceal the sun to darken the long dikes. Where can one find the traffic of merchants? Has there been ever a shelter for fishermen? On the flat sand, no wild geese descend. From distant shores comes the crying of apes. Only the red smartweed flowers know this scene. Basking in the white duckweed's fragile scent. The Bodhisattva was looking over the river when suddenly a loud splash was heard, and from the midst of the waves leapt an ugly and ferocious monster. He appeared to have a green, though not too green, and black, though not too black, face of gloomy complexion, a long, though not too long, and short, though not too short, sinewy body with naked feet. His gleaming eyes shone like two lights beneath the stove. His mouth, forked at the corners, was like a butcher's bloody bowl, with teeth protruding like swords and knives, and red hair all disheveled. He bellowed once and it sounded like thunder, while his legs sprinted like whirling wind. Holding in his hands a priestly staff, that fiendish creature ran up the bank and tried to seize the Bodhisattva. He was opposed, however, by Huyan, who wielded his iron rod, crying, "Stop!" But the fiendish creature raised his staff to meet him. So the two of them engaged in a fierce battle beside the flowing sand river, which was truly terrifying. The iron rod of Mach-A displays its power to defend the law. The monster-taming staff of the creature labors to show its heroic might. Two silver pythons dance along the river's bank. A pair of godlike monks charge each other on the shore. This one plies his talents as the forceful lord of flowing sand. That one, to attain great merit, protects Guanyin by strength. This one churns up foam and stirs up waves. That one belches fog and spits out wind. The stirred up foams and waves darken heaven and earth. The spat out fog and wind make dim both sun and moon. The monster taming staff of this one is like a white tiger emerging from the mountain. The iron rod of that one is like a yellow dragon lying on the way. When used by one, this weapon spreads open the grass and finds the snake. When let loose by the other, that weapon knocks down the kite and splits the pine. They fight until the darkness thickens, save for the glittering stars. And the fog looms up, to obscure both sky and land. This one, long a dweller in the weak water, is uniquely fierce. That one, newly leaving the spirit mountain, seeks his first win. Back and forth along the river, the two of them fought for 20 or 30 rounds without either prevailing, when the fiendish creature stilled the other's iron rod and asked, "What region do you come from, monk, that you dare oppose me?" "I'm the second son of the pagoda-bearer Devaraja," said Mak A. Mak, disciple, Huyan. "I am serving as the guardian of my mentor, who is looking for a scripture pilgrim in the land of the East. What kind of monster are you that you dare block our way?" "I remember," said the monster, suddenly recognizing his opponent, "that you used to follow the Guanyin of the South Sea and practice austerities there in the bamboo grove. How did you get to this place?" "Don't you realize," said Mak A, "that she is my mentor, the one over there on the shore?" When the monster heard these words, he apologized repeatedly. Putting away his staff, he allowed Mak A to grasp him by the collar and led him away. He lowered his head and bowed low to Guanyin, saying, "Bodhisattva, please forgive me and let me submit my explanation. I am no monster. Rather, I am the curtain-raising general who waits upon the phoenix chariot of the Jade Emperor at the Divine Mists Hall. Because I carelessly broke a crystal cup at one of the festivals of immortal peaches, the Jade Emperor gave me 800 lashes, banished me to the region below, and changed me into my present shape. Every 7th day he sends a flying sword to stab my breast and side more than 100 times before it leaves me. Hence my present wretchedness. Moreover, the hunger and cold are unbearable, and I am driven every few days to come out of the waves and find a traveler for food. I certainly did not expect that my ignorance would today lead me to offend the great, merciful Bodhisattva. Because of your sin in heaven," said the Bodhisattva, "you were banished.